Live from KX News, this is Good Day Dakota.
And good morning. Welcome to Good Day Dakota. I'm Alicia Huck.
And I'm Josh Meny. Thank you for waking up with us this Wednesday morning. We continue our COVID-19 North Dakota watch as the Department of Health reports 43 new confirmed cases of the coronavirus, bringing the statewide total now to 2,422. As we break down the new cases by county, Cass saw the largest increase with 38. Grand Forks County had 3, and Rolette and Walsh each saw 1 new case. On a positive note, more than 1,700 people have now recovered, with 150 just from Monday, meaning there are 667 active cases here in the state. There were no deaths to report yesterday, and the number of patients currently in the hospital is 40, down 1 patient from previous day's numbers. These numbers also mean 70% of people who have tested positive for COVID-19 here in North Dakota have recovered from the virus. As the case numbers continue to go down, are we close to the next phase of the North Dakota restart plan? Governor Doug Burgum reminded us yesterday the system works kind of like the fire rating index used throughout the state. The color-coded guidance system includes 5 levels of activity: red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. Each level after red becomes less restrictive when it comes to the guidelines of reopening. But when asked at the press conference yesterday, he says he wasn't ready to make a decision yet.
We certainly are going to take a look at that throughout this week, and we've made some big moves each week in terms of loosening some more things up. I mean, a big one was going up to the groups of up to 250.
The governor also says we can move to a different level as a state or individually, county by county. He says he'll address this more on Friday. The governor also addressed the lab equipment malfunction that impacted tests run between Tuesday and Thursday of last week. 82 positives were deemed inconclusive, and all of those individuals were asked to retest. Of the 65 already retested, only 1 remained positive, and 1 person chose not to retest and instead is self-isolating. The lab is currently waiting on the results of the remaining 16 tests. Burgum says today's press conference is scheduled for 3:30, but so is the launch of SpaceX. If it launches on time, the briefing will happen after that. During last week's mass testing in Minot, 2 Ward County employees tested positive for COVID-19. A mass testing is scheduled for this Friday to retest Trinity staff, Ward County staff, inmates, and Minot PD. During Ward County's weekly press briefing yesterday, Sheriff Bob Rood said if an inmate does test positive, there is a plan in place.
We do have 4 cell blocks in the old jail that have been set aside, sanitized, and ready to go. So if something like that were to come up, we do have the ability to isolate those particular inmates in their own cell or in their own cell block.
He says jail staff are wearing masks and gloves. Some inmates have been tested, but all the results have been negative so far. For the latest information on the coronavirus, including a recap of the governor's news conferences, resources, case numbers, and prevention, visit our website, kxnet.com. Alicia.
Thank you, Josh. Well, most state government offices are set to reopen next week to the public, and although it will be a limited capacity, the state will use $23.8 million of federal coronavirus aid to update computer systems and purchase laptops for employees who do decide to remain at home. And Governor Burgum says that some 7,000 state employees at about 1,600 facilities across the state of North Dakota have been part of the remote workforce since mid-March. Well, KX News is your local election headquarters, and already more than 160,000 ballots have been sent out to voters. And Secretary of State Al Jaeger says that greater access to mail-in ballots means a higher turnout for the June election. Another perk of voting by mail is the ability to research candidates before you mark your ballot. Jaeger says that this year's unconventional election is also an opportunity to teach your kids how an election works.
The ballot coming home, the parent showing their children in terms of, okay, this is what I've done to get the ballot, and this is, how we vote, and show them how the voting process works and how the ballot is returned.
And the deadline to have your ballot application turned in is this Thursday. That's May 28th. And the latest that you can have the ballot itself postmarked is Monday of June 8th. Well, if you have some student loan debt and you're struggling because of this COVID-19 pandemic, there is some help out there for you. The Bank of North Dakota says it's offering borrowers the option to defer payments on their student loans now for 6 months. Anyone interested can just simply go to the bank's website and fill out that form. And the bank tells us that since the program started in late March, thousands of people have taken advantage of it.
We've had over 8,000 people, borrowers, already take advantage of this who have been impacted. We've had some call back and enter a payment again because maybe they weren't as impacted as they once were. So we're trying to be as flexible as we can, understand that everybody's situation is different during this time.
And the 6-month postponement plan is a one-time option, but borrowers can still make interest payments if they so choose. Well, all of us have stressors in life, of course, and sometimes they can feel unbearable, and our kids are no exception to those feelings. But what do you do when your child is persistently and unreasonably overwhelmed, scared, and worried? Well, coming up at 6:32, we will begin a 3-part series on kids and mental health. We'll hear from 3 parents today whose children have been diagnosed with anxiety, and they'll share with us the challenges they face and the helplessness they feel when a child seemingly melts with despair. From tantrums and out-of-control behavior to completely shutting down, these parents know firsthand what it's like to see a child struggle with anxiety. And there is still plenty of news and weather ahead this morning on Good Day Dakota, including another industry is changing due to the ongoing pandemic. We'll tell you how it's affecting the way you buy a new vehicle. And we'll have those details after the break. And Amber will be back to tell us about some warmer weather on the horizon and see if there's any chances of rain in the forecast. That's coming up in her full weather forecast in a bit.
Watching Good Day Dakota with Josh Meny, Alicia Huck, and weather with meteorologist Amber Wheeler. Good Day Dakota on KX News, putting North Dakota first.